it's just like, wow, it was like my aha moment where I just found a way I can tell the untold stories, where I can relate to people, where I can express my my views, my opinions. And it was just like, oh, like this is it, I finally found it. Hello handsome and beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, you're very much welcome. I am Nomcebo the poet. Utonda wezizip, utondonganana sendendene mpondo yahlala. Isona nesimonomuntu, sonomhlambi wezinyamazane. I am Umzilikazi Kamashubane. Please do join the family, subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any video from me. So today, you guys, as you have seen in the title, I'll be sharing a story of how I got into poetry. Yes. I grew up liking to read, especially the books in my language. I think it was because I was in a village and there was actually no one to speak English with. Maybe that is why I was so much interested in reading in Swazi, which is my native language. And I think before I even finished primary, I have read so many books because there were just so many Siswati books, like those stories by Botembekile Msibi and Ibosala Yetwa Makakula. I grew up reading those books because there were just so much, like so many of them in my house. My sister had won them when she finished her high school. Like she had a lot of them, like because she did well in Siswati, so yeah, something like that. Yeah, I was reading them and I was just so fascinated by the way they write and I remember one day we were in Simini with my mom and I told her that I wanted to write my own book. By then I was in high school, I think. I was secondary, but I was still in school. And she was like, oh, you should write it, because she had seen how much I was just so into reading. Yeah, but my reading was like Siswati books, and I remember her one day telling me that you should be reading in English because my English has been bad like since day one. Like, guys, about that thing I could relate so much because I have so many instances where I have spoken in English, but it was just like no. I literally finished high school and I could still make the mistake of he and she. Like, I remember one day my mom had come for our open day in school and we were talking with the principal and I said he instead of a she. Were like, and the principal like told my mom, like, you see, she's making such simple mistakes. By now she should be able to be like making it different like that. Funny how when it came to writing, I would just write so nicely and so perfectly, not like perfectly, but it was okay for me to get me good marks in my compositions and my writing, all that. But when it came to speaking, my God, I was so bad. But then I also tried like reading in English because my mom just wanted me to read like English books rather than the ones in my native language. So I read my first English book. I think I was in grade 7. It was like those pay status books, like I remember, but I don't actually remember what is it about now. Like, it's been long because I just finished it and I couldn't understand, like, my goodness. But anyways, yeah, I grew up like so much into reading. I really liked reading and I just wanted to write my own thing. Like, I had the wish that I could just write, and that was just in my heart, but I really never act upon it. But still, I could be just so inspired by a lot of things. I remember watching America's Got Talent and there was Bohlale, you guys, this child, she was 11 and she won South Africa's Got Talent because she was just doing spoken word poetry, and she inspired me so much because I remember, I think I was 14 then and I was just like 3 years older than her, and she was like so much into the poems and like the way she would recite, like, guys, in like that child really inspired me. Like, the fact that she was young and the way she was writing, the oomph, like she had that vavavoom thinking, and I just, it's like, now I understand how she even won, because she was into the thinking, like the way she would recite. There's this poem she did based on Mandela, and oh my God, that child really inspired me. But still, after I have seen that, like so many things inspiring me to write, and then seeing Bohlale, you know, just so much into poetry, then I wanted to also recite. But I think uh, I had like the fear of starting, the fear of trying something and not working out, because I remember when I was in Form 2 we had Says Corner. It was a youth program that was playing on radio, and we were the ones hosting it, making those sketches and you know all that thinging. We used to do it Sis Dolly Mponge and myself from SBIS. Yeah, and I wanted to do a part where it was a poem. We didn't feature that poem because it was trash. Oh my goodness, it didn't play, and it was just cancelled because you couldn't really understand what was that. Like, I think that's another thing that's just made me not really to act upon that thing in earlier, because that just maybe I'm just dreaming too big and all that, and this thing is just not for me. Until I was in Form 5. That's like the last grade in high school. They wanted people in Culture Day, where like umeso, ingala, you know, food, but just anything that has to do with our culture. Like, we were hosting it at school. By then, I had met Miss Shabango, my Siswati teacher, back in high school. And a part of me just like, let me just do a poem. Oh, before I get to that, I had already started liking poems, because now we were covering them in Siswati, like with Miss Shabang. She's now the deputy at my former school. Oh my goodness, that teacher really inspired me. The way she was so much into the poems, and the love for poetry, you know, the right for Siswati was so much. Like, I just wanted to do my own thing, you know. And then when that opportunity availed itself, that I can do something and try it out, I was like, okay, let me just try. But it was a huge step, because I was afraid of embarrassing myself too. I mean, imagine embarrassing yourself, like, in front of your classmates, the whole school. It was going to be disastrous. But then I took one poem from Inhlava, I think Inhlava or Batshele Bakie. I don't remember really, but it was one of those Siswati books. Like, from then, it was about culture, about how beautiful it is. And then I recited it during the Culture Day, and people loved it. Like, it was like, oh wow, you're so good. And so I was like, so what? Say what? I can't hear you. Like, really, me? Like, really, you guys, you loved it? The way people just loved it, the way they were like, oh wow, you're so good. Like, oh, we didn't know you can do poetry. As much as I was reading in class, like, maybe if we have something, then I'll read. But I really didn't know that people would love it to that extent. Like, because everywhere I go, like, you are the poem girl, you are the song hunter, you are the girl with poems, you know. That response just was just like, see, Nomcebo, you can do this. And from then I started writing my own. Like I said, the next poem I'm going to do is not going to be from those books. It's just going to be my own thing. So that my first poem ever is entitled Ngibheke Ungibheke Sis. That was like Siswati. And that one I performed it when we had our speech and prize in Form 5. And people loved it too. Like, really, really loved it. And that's the way people were just responding into it, and really being able to relate to people, being able to pass a message, and people like actually enjoying it. Because I just then realized that you don't need to be like telling people, look, don't do this and what not. Like, poems or poetry on its own, as in a way where you can pass messages to people. It's like a medium of it's like the platform where you interact, you relate to people, you tell stories. it's like it's just like wow. It was like my aha moment where I just found a way I can tell the untold stories, where I can relate to people, where I can express my views, my opinions. And it was just like, oh like this is it, I finally found it. Yeah, so that's just how I started it. People telling me that I'm good, and the response I would get every time after reciting a poem. Yeah, it was like, this is so amazing. This is so amazing, man. But then the question is now, what has kept me in poetry? Because it's not every time where you recite a poem and people love it. That I must say. It's not every time. Sometimes you just go on stage, you recite it, and it's like you're not even there, you know. But I have been doing this like for how many years now? Almost 5, because I started end of 2015 or mid 2015, and now it's 2020. As much as 2018, 2019, beginning of 2019, I wasn't really that writing much, because I was just going through, I don't know what, but I wasn't really writing. But let's just say 5 years, because it's 2015, 2020, you know, this 5 years. In this 5 years, what has kept me writing more poems, it is the ability to connect with people, the power of having a voice. Like I said, me being able to actually get on stage and people loving what I was doing actually gave me a voice. It was like, yes, I found a voice. Now I can speak. Now I can talk about what is in my heart, or what is in my head, and put it out there. I can now express to myself in a most poetic way, in a most interesting way, and just speak to people. That's what has been, that's just like keeping me going. Being able to relate to people, being able to tell stories, being able just to be there and, you know, encourage and create awareness. Oh goodness, it's the voice that comes with me being a poet. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy telling stories. I enjoy voicing out my opinions. This is what I think, and this is what I have observed. It's just, it's so amazing. Like, it's so amazing. I don't know if you can understand, if you can understand being able to express yourself in words. Like, words are so beautiful, like very, very beautiful. It's their art. And for me, most of my poems, I don't know if you have realized, they are not really about rhymes and, you know, all that. They're just they're just my expressions and my opinions. Then I recite them in a kind of poetic way, but it's just me expressing myself. It is me voicing myself. It is me speaking. This is me highlighting. It is me doing the things and sharing my stories too. Because some of the poems that I write, they are my experiences. They are my things. Like the one, I think I remember when I was doing the video, how I memorize my poems, the one I was using as an example. That poem is so into my heart because it talks about my experience, what I went through. So it's, I don't just only like have the voice and relate to people, but I also like share, like, okay, you guys, you see us smiling like this. You know, and you're thinking we're into things, we're doing the things, why are we 10, what we 10? No, we're not. So yeah, just tell people that, yeah, my goodness, sometimes I do go to bed with fear. I wonder if my heart will make it to the next morning. Sometimes I have days where it's like my soul is like detached, you know, from my heart. Yeah, I've written so many poems where I share my experiences. That is why if you want to hear more of them, just do check my spoken word. And yeah, you guys, so you tell me how you find my poems. Do you like them and all that? And another thing that has kept me going is the response I get from people. Like, I have written so many poems, and the person just, or maybe a text coming up like, oh wow, I was listening to your poem. There's this one that I wrote. It is entitled "It's Okay Not to Be Okay. You are not alone." that poem made me realize that your people are going through a lot out there, and you never really realize the impact you have by sharing your story or encouraging other people. Like, and people were sharing their days that, okay, I feel like I understand when you're saying it's okay, because there's this part in the poem where I'm like, maybe you have days where you question your existence, where you question your purpose, days where it feels like everyone else and the world is just moving so fast and you just wonder whether you'll ever measure up. It turned out that there's so many people that are actually feeling that way, with like everyone is just doing their thing, and but they feel like stagnant. And for them to realize that it's actually not just them, but a lot more people that are actually going through the same thing, it gives them hope, and like, okay, this is normal, this happens. So that for me too, you know, being able to share experiences and just encourage them, give them hope, it's really, really wonderful. Because the truth is, we can't all be pastors, you know, and what not, or like the motivational speakers who get on stage and tell you that I started my my chicken business with a feather. Get away, you know. We can't all be that people, you know. Some of us just needs to write poems and put them out there, and people be inspired and people finding motivation. And for me, that is really, really, really huge. So this is me being a poet, and I really hope you guys enjoy my poems. Tell me if, even if you don't, tell me what you enjoy from me. So yeah, that's how I started. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you guys. You can please suggest videos, and even if you have like an idea for a poem or a certain issue that you would want me to address, I really appreciate that, hearing from you. And thank you for your support, you guys. I really appreciate it. Please do remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.